if you know a guy that wants to be a drag queen, one of the most important things to cover up the blue tone of hair is to put an orange correction powder on.
We use, it's on your list, it's called MakeUp. It comes in this little container. It's literally
$7
it's expensive,
but it'll last.
You don't have to have it, you don't have to, but.
This is just rubbed over where the hair grows. You'll notice some queens that don't do this, they will have somewhat of a blue or grayish tone right through here, and it's because their beard is showing up through the makeup. So this helps counteract the color. You can do this if you have blemishes using green underneath your face, and it'll counteract the red color of your blemish.
Would you use that on your eyebrows too because of the darkness, or no?
No, not really. It's because the hair literally is shaved, and you can see the little follicles, and when the flash goes off in a camera, it can pick up all those little dots. So this you've already laid down, so it's not gonna, unless you have shaved eyebrows, and you might want to, but. All right, so that's step one. We base a little bit different, so you're gonna notice different techniques for both of us. You're gonna notice different things about your face too. I have nostrils that lay down on top of my cheek palette plane, and so if I don't powder my cream base right here immediately, I'll get ring around the nose because my nose takes the makeup off. So that's just something I know about my face.
And for me, I have very small little pockets. I think my pores are just too big, and so I have little small pockets on the side of my nose and right here in the corners of my eyes for some reason. So when I'm putting base on, I have to be extra careful to make sure I get into those pockets, because otherwise the makeup, and even the eye color, will flake and it'll expose my real skin color under it, which is not an attractive thing to have.
So we use Max Factor Pan Stick. This is like a big crayon, and you just write on your face with it to apply the base. It's really, really easy to use. It's full coverage, which is great. And you can get it at drugstore.com for about $6 to $8.
Now this isn't my actual color. It's a lot lighter than my skin color, but that's okay because I use a darker powder to cover it, and it evens out my skin tones.
We both use CoverGirl loose powder. It comes in a variety of shades, and it's pretty versatile and it's inexpensive. You can get this pretty much anywhere.
That just has the three different, the light, medium, dark. If that's the one I
It actually has like 6 to 8 shades. If you go to Queen Collection, Queen Latifah has a lot of different tones, yellowish, reddish, all kinds of tones. You can find it all online especially, but usually in Miami is the only place you're going to find it in a drugstore.
Oh wait, also, put on a t-shirt that you don't want to wear out. Yeah.
These are our makeup t-shirts, so otherwise you're going to ruin
something. How do you get them off? You just really have to pull it over the
just make sure that you have a loose enough collar.
I usually just like that, and squeeze my head through, so nothing goes. The back of your shirt will get ruined, but, you know, whatever.
So I start by applying, I roll up my little pan stick a little bit, and I rub it over my eyebrows.
And I start down my neck, because I have an insanely long neck, and I want to make sure it's all covered.
I do circles around my eyes, so I look like a little... Then I start with my lip. I do here, I do here, 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 and then down my nose, my trouble spot.
I feel like I'm going to war when I do it.
So now I'm juicy and wet, and I take a loaded sponge. This sponge I use pretty much one a week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on how clean it stays. You can wash these with soap and water, but you want a nice, heavy-duty sponge. They come in a big bag, so you don't really have to worry about it. You can use one per makeup application if you want. But you want to rub makeup on the sponge if it's clean, because otherwise it will take the makeup off of your face instead of putting it on. You're going to dab with a sponge and not smudge.
And when you're doing that, my skin is really loose, especially on my forehead. I have lots of wrinkles, and I have intense smile lines. And while you're putting on your base, you want to make sure that you try to remain expressionless, because once the base gets in there and it gets in those wrinkles, you'll never be able to get it out once you powder it. So your face will be a big wrinkly mess like mine sometimes.
And you can see that my eyebrows are gone now. You can't really see, you can see the shape of where the glue is underneath it, but
And this will probably take, with the gluing and the basing, it'll probably be 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes of your time.
What I'm doing right now is setting the parts that, for me, will get wrinkles like Johnny was talking about. Because your eyes are constantly opening and closing, you'll lose the makeup on your lid. So I like to powder it.
Powder you use for your eyebrows?
Yeah, this is the same powder that I use, yeah. I'm making sure I get around my little nose thing, and then I start basing everything else, because these are where I get a lot of creases in my eyes. I'll lose makeup, and around my nose. So now I'll just take my hand stick and rub it everywhere else I didn't put it already.
And you're probably thinking to yourself, this is a lot of fucking makeup, but that's the point. The point of the foundation and all the makeup is to make everything like a neutral, clean slate. That way you can make your face however you want it. And it also helps add to your character. So once you start getting in the mirror and you look at yourself, you're like, I look strange, I don't have eyebrows, I'm all flat, you know. Then it makes you feel like, okay, I'm gonna start creating something now. And then once you get everything on as far as base, then you use a powder that's pretty close to what your skin tone is. I'm using Queen Collection number 120. I think they have, don't they have a darker one?
It goes to 130.
Goes to 130, okay. So there's a lot of variants in the Queen Collection that you can find. This is a little darker than my skin tone, but it balances out the fact that my foundation is so light.
But light is sometimes a good thing, because you want to make sure that you don't want to paint too dark. It's better to paint too light. You'll notice that Latrice Royale, a really famous, very dark-skinned performer in the city, she paints like 3 or 4 shades lighter than her real skin, especially in her highlights.
So would you suggest that I do not get a tone that's the same color as me, or maybe a little bit lighter?
I would get a little bit lighter than you. And either way, what you're going to do, because this, if you saw when I put this on my face was darker than this. Like 2 shades darker, and I'm more red than this. But I start with a lighter because it's easier for me to contour dark than it is to contour bright. Because your face will absorb the makeup. And if you're starting light, it makes it easier to put highlight on, and you want highlight on your face.
Now when powdering, same thing as when you apply the foundation. You just pat. You get the makeup pad pretty much full, a lot of stuff on it, and then you just pat it on in different spots.
And what number are you using?
I use a 105. It really is lighter than me, but for me, I don't get a lot of sun, so it kind of matches the rest of me. And it depends on your character. I mean, sometimes I'll paint more Latin with darker, more rich red tones, especially in my contour of my cheek. And I get all the time at lips, you must be Cuban, you must be Puerto Rican.
Well, that also goes because she calls Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola! So that might be why.
Well, that might be why. I swear you're Puerto Rican. No, honey.
No, darling.
I'd love to be.
But thank you.
I know. Okay, so this is your set face. I'm now neutral, and if I stand far away, you probably can't tell I even have blue on my eye. But I'm going to stand over here.
Oh.
So I kind of look just like a weirdo with.
You look like powder, right?
Yeah.
You could make this part of your look. You don't have to go any further.
Right. If you so choose, honey.
I'm ready for lips! Oh, I'd get fired.
I don't know if that's the word.
I would so get fired.
Honey.
Okay, so I'm going to jump while she's finishing. I'm going to jump ahead to the next step, which is to draw on your eyes. You can just get a real cheapo-weepo.
How are those shoes holding up, honey?
You doing okay?
Oh, I took mine off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you need a stool or... I appreciate it. So these are cheapo-weepo eyeliner pencils. There's a sharpener as a cap. And so the little cap keeps the lead from breaking and also sharpens. So I'm going to get the trash can and sharpen away. Oh, thanks, Dave. Now, at our makeup station at home, we have little cups to hold our shavings in. That way you don't have to keep getting up and going to the trash can, but you don't want to drop any of these flakes because they will get on your shoe, they will spread throughout your house.
And it spreads very easily.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that
Get on
you
your
really
couch.
throw it away. And then I'll build my eye shape. So I'm not drawing with the point straight down. I'm really kind of rubbing the edge, and you'll see how I move the pencil. So I'm really trying to not break the tip off, because if you just draw straight on, it'll break the tip every time.
We're going to have a fully diagrammed pamphlet for you next week that's going to have written instructions as well, so you can go through all the steps.
And they're just helpful suggestions.
Helpful suggestions, just to get you started. I do my eyes a little bit different, but I want my eye more to be wider and longer, or to appear bigger. So I actually start my eyeliner line all the way back here. And all that does is just extend my eye all the way back to my hairline. And then I fill it all in with black.
Okay, so basically all I've done right now is just rimmed my eye. You don't really want to draw on the inside of your lid because the pencil will rub off inside of your eye and you can get ulcers in your eye. So try to stay on the outside of your lid and as close to the hairline as possible. Once you put mascara on, it'll totally look like your eye is drawn right to the skin flap. So I'm going to ask you for a vote. Who wants me to look? You can choose crazy, like high drag, crazy drag. It could be angry drag, diva, or it could be just regular pretty girl drag. Votes.
Pretty girl.
Pretty girl.
Pretty girl, raise your hand.
Do the pretty girl.
All right, that's
All right,
unanimous.
pretty girl.
So what we're going to do is make my eye look bigger on my face, just like Chocolata, but I'm not going to draw my eye back so far. I'm also going to make my eyelid look, because right now, my lid is pretty much, when my eyes are open, it's concealed by this one line. So I want to make a fake eyelid. So all I'm going to do is just draw on a fake eyelid above where my real eyelid would be. Thanks for that. And this is going to be my new eyelid. It's almost underneath where my real eyebrow is. I'm going to do the exact same thing over here and try to get the same shape.
And my shape is basically big, long, extended, like winged thing. And it all gets filled in with black.
That whole shape.
This whole shape.
So I'm going to connect this down into my eye. I'm going to draw up in the corner. I want my eyes to look lifted and large, so I'm drawing a slight angle coming from the outside corner of my eye, going up and out somewhat. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. If you mess up, you can always take your sponge and pat over this and recolor and get rid of the line. You don't have to worry about, oh, it's permanent, whatever. And this really is a sketch. You're sketching your face out. And then the makeup goes on around these new lines. And then we'll make bone structure and everything else. So now I'm going to make it look like I have an angled eyelid. So it looks like my eyes are somewhat cat-like. I'm going to color this whole area in black. And my eyelash will be glued up in this space. So now I have this as an eyelid. And my eyelid, the difference is like low and small to elongated and raised at an angle, more cat-like.
And I use to color in my shape. It's on the list. Bedhead black eyeshadow,
It's about $14.
$14. But you can use a simple black
Is
powder.
it powder or is it?
It's a pressed
It's a pressed
eyeshadow. I use La Femme. It's $5. It gives you the exact same results. Both of these can be found at GVS, Staples Beauty Supply. You have to ask for La Femme because they don't have it out. Since it's so inexpensive, they actually don't let people know that they carry it. So I'm just checking the angles and making sure that my eye looks somewhat symmetrical. They're not always going to be perfect.
Yeah, your eyes are not always going to be even.
So now I have pretty much the same thing on both eyes, and now I'm going to draw my eyebrow, my fake brow. So I'm going to start with a dot, and then I just try to eyeball it and make it level and even with my nose and height. It can be off, it can be on. What we teach in the little pamphlet is to do a 3-dot method. So then you find the arch of your eyebrow should be higher than the center and should be outside of, the normal person's eyebrow arches right at the outside edge of their iris. But since my eye is now drawn out about an inch wider than it normally is, I'm going to make the arch out at the very edge of my eye. And normally I would put a dot right here and a dot right here. Then you end the eyebrow, almost touching this line, but creating somewhat of a diamond shape. I'm just going to draw it on, if that's cool. Eyebrows for me took a long time to get used to, and the 3-dot method really helped me. And now I kind of just follow the curve of my face for a pretty good look.
And this is the fun of this part of the process, is because you can literally take your lines of your eyebrow and go all the way back as far as you want. It can go up and down, you can make shapes with it. It can come down your nose. There's lots of things you can do with your eyebrow and eye shape.
So I'm not going to draw in the entire shape of what my eyebrow is, I'm just drawing where the eyebrow is going to go. After this step, I would draw my lips on and then start contouring. And then the last thing I would do would be to really paint my eyes. And then after that step, I would take a liquid and paint the shape of my eyebrow. It could be a ham bone shape, it could be a sharp, angular triangle, it could be any shape. But this just gives me the sense of where I want the eyebrow to rest on my face. I'm just going to draw my lips on. I draw them over.
Not including the lips, but what Swat just finished is going to be your homework for next week. To do the same eyebrow gluing, covering, powdering, and then putting on your base, powdering your base, and drawing your eye shape with your eyebrow. And that's it. That's your homework for next week.
So I'm drawing my lips a little higher than my regular lip. You can see where my regular lip line is. It touches the lip line at the center and at the outer edge. If you wanted to do more of a crazy shape, you could do big, huge things. You can do pointy. This is just a regular accentuated lip. So when I smile, it's nice and rounded, and when I'm not smiling, it still has somewhat of a rounded shape. And that's the basic drawn-on sketch. I'm going to hop into my black to really kind of pop my eyes now. I use these long-handled applicators. They have a tip on one and a round shape on the other. You can get a pack of 12 of these for about $3 at Sally Beauty Supply. They're really, really handy because of the length of the handle. The other applicators that have just a little nubbin, it's just more like you have to rest your hand on your face. And if you happen to pick something up from your cloth, you could transfer it right to your face, and then you're like, great, I have this big blob on there. So I'm going to go over the shape that I drew on. Just the top part. The bottom part I'm going to go over with a liquid liner, or a cream liner, I'm sorry.
This whole process is gonna take you probably a couple hours, 2.5, give yourself like 3 hours at least. So that way you can take.
For dressing and
for
everything.
dressing
Your
and
makeup
everything.
could take 2 hours.
It could take 2.
It takes us a full hour to get into makeup, but we have
But
to.
we do it every day, and they
shave,
say, yeah, so just give yourself a lot of time. This is something that you don't wanna rush, you wanna make
It
sure.
can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
You can feel like you fucked everything up, and how do I fix this? What do I do now? I feel like my eyes are totally uneven. What do I do? Do I have to start over? Do I have to wash it on? But it's totally something different.
And that's why the makeup is so successful in your character, because this helps you, this helps people see you as a drag queen, as a man dressed as a woman, as opposed to a woman just wearing fancy, glittery clothes. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So this shape over here is a little different. I'm just going to change it to try to match it.
And what I would also recommend doing while you're putting your makeup on is to play music. But in case, since we have a video going, we're not playing music, but if we were at home, we'd have music on, we'd be playing around, singing, lip syncing, getting into our, a little mode.
And then really we start coming into our character as we start building our face. I'd be like, oh, there she is. Oh, look at that. What happens when I do this?
Well, I don't know if you saw me, but when I did my eyebrow, I knew it was on because I did that. And that's how I know it's done. That's how I know my shape is good.
So that's pretty much it, girls.
Yeah, this is it. This is what you need to come in with next week as far as face. And lips if you want. So that,
So you might want to be here around 1:30 if you're doing it here.
If you want to, or you can start whenever you get here. You can start. We're going to be going over a lot of stuff. As Chocolate said, if you can be in here in face, we'd love to do that because we can go farther with you girls. Otherwise, if you're getting here, like a lot of our other classes, they would arrive at time or even late, start putting their face on. By the time the end of the class came, they're like, oh, I need help with doing my eyes. Well, now we've moved on to performance, so what are we supposed to do about that? So do you see the difference in our face structures just with eyes? And then when our contour goes on, it's really going to lift and puff, and we're going to just really shadow everything. It's going to make, obviously we're not going to look like the same people.
what would be fun is if you could get here a little bit early, get to this point, and that way when we do our makeup session next time,
we can do color on all of it.
Color and contour together as a fun little class project.
And considering that next week is the red tie event, if you would like to show off and showcase students in progress, you could show up in face, not body, and not hair, but just to show your progress. It's up to you. So, anybody have any questions about this step? I'm just going to warn you all, if you thought that the gluing was difficult or gave you trouble, this will give you trouble too. Getting the shape right, I mean, we do this 5 times a week, we've done it for years, so it's easier for us. It might be difficult for you, and that's okay. We can help you, we can show you what shape, what are you going for. If you're going for crazy monster, are you going to do pretty girl? Probably not, but you can always have your eyebrows go straight up. And like Chocolate said, they can be attached to your nose. Your eyebrow can grow out of your nose, contour straight up, almost like an antenna. You can make your eyebrows not even attached to your face, but just glued on. So that way you don't have to worry about it. I think I have some pictures in my telephone of a face I did with, where's my phone? Over here. With,
or, look at a mousse bouche.
Yeah.
This is a great example of taking it way past what we're doing today.
Right there, honey. That's Alina.
Do you have your phone or you
I have my phone.
Can you remind us the 4 colors you said were the basics to get at the Medusa company?
Yeah, they're the pinks. I'd suggest getting Passion. It's a deep fuchsia. I would suggest getting Cupcake and Glow. That's going to give you a deep pink, a light pink, and a white. If you'd like to do black underneath, you don't need a lot of it, and we can just share with what we have, because you don't need a whole lot to go. And this is an image of me in red makeup and contour and eyes, so that's red base face.